The Coyote Twin, Vermilion's downtown theater. Providing entertainment Thursdays through Sundays.
Tonight on Coyote News, how campus might react during an active shooter situation.
And we meet the only SGA candidate team running for office.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
This is your student-run Coyote News. I'm Landon DeBoer.
And I'm Caitlin Sterling. After a shooting last month on Michigan State's campus, USD released a detailed outline with steps on how to stay safe in the event of an active shooter. Coyote News' Morgan Ray shares UPD's recommendations.
According to the Pew Research Center, the incidence of mass shootings has been on the rise in recent years. Jackson Bryant, chief of the University Police Department, says that there are many different ways students can respond to a shooter on campus.
The run, hide, fight model is just that doing anything is better than nothing. Run doesn't necessarily mean physically run away, but it does mean try and leave the area. Sometimes hiding is a great option. Not just hiding in a corner, but what other things can we do as well? Can we close and lock a door? And then fight is kind of that last alternative, and I really like to frame it as, can you fight for your life, right? Or fight for those around us. Just having that mental preparation that anything is better than nothing.
Following the run, hide, fight model, quick thinking and situational awareness is potentially life-saving in an active shooter situation. For Coyote News, I'm Morgan Ray.
In addition to the alert system, the threat assessment team investigates reports of potentially violent behavior. Reports can be submitted by email.
The SGA Senate and presidential elections are underway. This is the third year the Student Government Association will only have one presidential running party. The last time a party ran opposed was 2020, the beginning of the pandemic. Since then, there have been 3 unopposed, and this year is no different. Caleb Swanson and Elizabeth Brust will likely be the next SGA president and vice president. The party ran on a platform of service, support, and sustainability, with plans of establishing a campus sustainability office. Voting ended today at 5.
The Vermilion liquor store was robbed this past weekend. On Saturday, around 7 in the evening, a man came into the store, grabbed a bottle of vodka off the shelf, and proceeded to go to the counter. There, instead of paying, he opted to pepper spray the employees working before fleeing the store. The incident and its security footage was posted by an employee on TikTok, where it gained over 300,000 views. Police were searching for the suspect until Monday, when he was brought into custody. Coming up, USD celebrates the Festival of Nations.
And Behind the Storefront returns with a look at Vermilion's first dispensary.
In a world where embracing your identity is a privilege not usually given to the members of the LGBTQIA+ community,
the University of South Dakota Spectrum provides community and education for young queer scholars.
sexuality and identity are defined on spectrums.
And having a community of open-minded, inclusive peers provides safety. Spectrum is one reason all Coyotes can call the University of South Dakota their home.
Day in and day out. From one field on to the next. Dedicated, restorative, and driven. To the American farmer who represents the roots of our country, we thank you for all you do.
This is Coyote News.
Over 50 countries were represented in this year's Festival of Nations. Coyote News' Spencer Bewley takes us through Sunday night's celebration of diversity.
For over 20 years, USD students from all backgrounds have gathered to share their culture at the Festival of Nations. And for some, like Nepali graduate student Pramesh Baral, it ignites a special sense of pride.
And in this song, he describes that wherever I am, wherever my physical body is, I will always love my country, and my soul always belongs to Nepal. That's what that song portrays.
Over 30 different cuisines were available to enjoy this year, and International Club President Pragati Ronyar says food embodies every aspect of a nation.
If I have to describe how my home is for the other people who haven't been there, I feel like this is my food. This is what this is what I have been eating my entire life. This is what represents my childhood. This is what represents my family.
This year was the International Club's 5th year hosting the festival, and along with walking away with a full stomach, Pragati says she hopes students experience a taste of multicultural diversity.
The people who participated today, they must have seen how much diverse we are, how many we are people all over the world. And just being here, just coming to this event, they were able to experience everything. Just sitting in that ballroom, they were able to experience all the diversity, all the multicultural and everything. I feel like I want people to take that away.
For Coyote News, I'm Spencer Bewley.
The International Club hosts weekly meetings open to all students, regardless of nationality.
A bill that would prohibit the spouses of South Dakota state lawmakers from serving as lobbyists was defeated Monday. Backers described the bill as a much-needed ethics measure, while opponents say it targeted Republican Senator Julie Fry-Mueller of Rapid City and went too far. Fry-Mueller was suspended and censured over harassing a legislative aide. The exchange occurred in the presence of Fry-Mueller's husband, Mike Mueller, who's a private lobbyist with the conservative group South Dakota Citizens for Liberty. Similar bills have been proposed in the past, and lawmakers may consider it again.
Following recent reports of sexual assaults, students might be wondering what happens with those reports that are made. Coyote News' Carter Linke is live in the muck to hear how the university responds to reports. Carter?
Thank you, Caitlin. I'm here with Jean Merkel to talk about the recent reports of sexual assault here on campus. Jean, what steps happen once a student reports a sexual assault here on campus?
So the student would come potentially into my office and we would have a conversation. I would explain to them there's really one of 3 options that could happen. I always promise to be a good listener, take information first, and then kind of decide the best course of action. But if they're interested in proceeding with resolution of any kind, there's a Board of Regents policy that we can have, or I've got a copy of, and we can have them fill out the form and start that process. So,
in what ways are there for your office to support victims?
We do a lot of things as far as accommodations. Sometimes they are excused absences, whether it be from a class or work, etc. Sometimes it's making housing adjustments if they want to be on a different floor than the other person. And sometimes it's just helping them find a good counselor and making sure they're getting the support they need.
And how is USD or your office responding to the increased number of sexual assaults?
That's a great question. I think the spring has surprised us, but we are glad people are coming forward and getting help. And so we really just want to make sure that they understand we're seen as a resource support as much as we are kind of a resolution support option. And so we are wanting to do more as far as like training and education. We have April coming up, it's Prevention Month, and so yeah, just doing more education.
And what is some advice that you might give to somebody that's on the fence about reporting to your office?
I would say, number one, please know that we're a safe space. We want to make sure that we respect the person who comes in, and if they want to come in and just vent and have nothing happen, that is an option. And if they want more, we can help them with more. But don't be afraid. I'm a nice person, so come on in and we'll help you if we can.
Thank you for joining us today, Jean. Live from the muck for Coyote News, I'm Carter Linke.
Thanks, Carter. As we heard, the silent witness form is available on the university website. Although spring is on the horizon, cloudy and gray days are still in the forecast. Coyote News' Sean Power takes a look at seasonal affective disorder.
The winter months can mean different things to different people. For some students, winter means a time of depression, stress, and other signs of seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. According to Mental Health America, roughly 5% of the American population experiences seasonal affective disorder. An assistant clinical director at the Student Counseling Center, Wesley Bruce, says the signs are noticeable.
What it looks like for most people is oftentimes in the fall and the winter having a pretty significant drop in their mood and their affect, and then they find that going about their daily and weekly tasks gets more difficult. They often get much more low energy. They find it difficult just getting out of bed, going about their daily routine, and they also find it difficult getting the things done that they need to either turn into school or turn in for their employer.
While seasonal affective disorder has very noticeable personal effects on a student, inside the classroom, these become more damaging to an academic career.
What it looks like and the biggest impacts it has is grades start to drop, and then oftentimes people get very stressed out by the time midterms come. They start to see their classes drop, they get more stressed about midterms, and then that stress starts to compound and accumulate.
So, while this time of year can be taxing for students, those with SAD have an extra burden on their shoulders. For Coyote News, I'm Sean Power.
If you or someone you know thinks that they might suffer from seasonal affective disorder, same-day appointments are available through the Student Counseling Center.
Vermilion is home to the only medical marijuana dispensary for miles. This week, as a part of our Behind the Storefront series, Grant Robertson walks us through Dakota Herb.
Located in the heart of downtown, Dakota Herb is Vermilion's first medical marijuana dispensary. Since its opening in November, General Manager Miranda Wooler says that business is starting to pick up.
We are the only open dispensary right now. I've heard there are at least 2 other licenses in Vermilion that are going to be open, but they're still in the process of either figuring out their building or getting all their product in. But right now we're the only dispensary open. It's picking up a lot, actually. I was just looking at our sales since we opened on November 7th. It kind of started out hot with the people that wanted to come and see it, but then you see a steady increase with more people getting their cards and becoming more comfortable with the process and understanding that you can come in here and use your medical card and buy our products. It's just that fine line right now because South Dakota is so new to it.
Wooler says that in order to get a medical cannabis card, one must first see a licensed doctor to see if they are eligible. From there, it goes to the state level, where eligibility is once again looked over. If approved, cards will be sent out in a matter of weeks. Since medical marijuana is not yet covered by insurance, there are costs involved with the consultation.
The cost is up to the doctor's office. I've seen it range anywhere from $150 to $300 for the doctor visit, and then there is a $75 state fee.
Since medical cannabis is so new to the state, Dakota Herb has its own set of measures to make sure that patients get the care they need.
You show your card and we make sure that the card is valid, and once we get you in our system, then there is a locked door that we buzz you in and let you come in and look at our product. We have flour coming in and out right now, but people want the concentrates and the edibles and everything else. And I think just because the state is such a new industry in the state, that it's just taking time.
Wooler says they are working hard to get patients the products they want and will continue to advocate cannabis culture. With Behind the Storefront, reporting for Coyote News, I'm Grant Robertson.
Next on Coyote Sports, the basketball teams compete in the Summit League tournament.
And the men's game goes down to the wire.
Hi, I'm Quinn Guinnett, president of the Anime Club. And sure, we watch a lot of anime and talk a lot about manga, but the club, it's so much more than that. It is really a place for people with similar interests to come together. This is a very relaxing environment. There are tons of snacks, places to study, and a bunch of different types of anime we see every week. We meet every Tuesday in Become Room 340. So please, come be a part of this community.
This is Coyote News.
The basketball teams finished their year at the Summit League tournament.
And the soccer team kicks off its spring season. This is Coyote Sports. I'm Sydney Colin.
And I'm Callie Connors. The men's basketball season came to an end in a close contest at the Summit League tournament. This weekend, they played the NDSU Bison in the quarterfinals. Early in the first half, Cruz Pero Hunt drives to the hoop and scores 2 of his 16 total points in the contest. The Bison would head into the half with an 8-point lead, but the Coyotes would storm back to push ahead. AJ Plitzawhite totaled 17 points and 4 rebounds to fuel USD's second half run. The game would go back and forth until Tajavis Miller hit a floater to give the Bison a 1-point advantage. On the other end, Damani Hayes slips away for a dunk attempt, and the officials say it's a clean block, sealing the game for NDSU. Plitzawhite had a chance with a half-court heave at the buzzer, but it would miss the mark. The Bison win this one 70-68.
The women's basketball team also lost this weekend in the Summit League. They faced off against the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. Early on, the Coyotes were plagued by turnovers, committing 10 in the first half. Oral Roberts capitalized by building an 11-point halftime lead. Out of the break, the Coyotes went on a third-quarter run to cut the lead to just 1 point. Grace Larkins and Carly Duffney helped USD on offense, each scoring 19 points in the contest. However, the run was short-lived, as the Golden Eagles' stingy defense and strong offense helped them extend their lead. Oral Roberts takes this one 92-69. After this weekend's results, both teams are done until basketball starts back up in the fall.
When one season ends, another begins. The soccer team's next matches in their spring schedule are against Iowa State and Minnesota State Mankato. This past week, the team played in Lincoln. The first match saw a 1-0 loss to Nebraska. Later that day, the Coyotes ended in a 1-1 tie against Iowa State. Haley Phoenix scored the lone goal for USD. The team's spring season will last until late April. Coyote News' Carly Phillips is live in the muck with one of the members of the team to learn more about their spring season. Carly?
Thanks, Callie. I'm here with Caroline Lewis, a goalkeeper on the USD women's soccer team. Caroline, thanks for joining me tonight. Now, you guys are just coming off of a doubleheader from this weekend, and in one of those games you faced Iowa State. You guys will get to play them again here in a couple weeks, so what are you going to do differently knowing that you've already played a team earlier this season?
We played pretty well against Iowa State. We could have easily, maybe not easily, should have won that game if we could have closed out. We did let in a goal, unfortunately, in the last 2-3 minutes of the game, but we were leading for the majority of it. I think we played very well compared to when we played against them in the fall as well, with just minor adjustments. We were a little bit frantic. It was our first time playing another team since October, and especially with it being a team in the Big 12, a bigger conference. You could tell there's some nerves and stuff, but I think as the game went on, we progressively got better, and just trying to just fix the little adjustments here and there for when we play them again, and then hopefully come out with a win.
And with spring break coming up here, what does your training look like over that time?
So luckily, since it is technically our off season, we do get spring break off. So it's kind of on us, our own accountability of still working out, staying in shape, touching the ball, doing all of those. So our coach does just put that on us. And as I know my teammates, we all will be doing what we need to be prepared for when we come back.
And so for the spring season, you guys don't play a lot of conference teams. How does getting to play some different teams that maybe you don't normally get to play, how is that an advantage for you?
It's super nice, especially teams that are in better conferences, a little bit better. Just their speed of play is so much faster, and just really gets you better. And it's just kind of nice. Different players get to get more minutes and just experience different ways. And I think it's super nice because it can get pretty repetitive playing the same teams. You know, certain players, the moves they're going to do. So it's kind of nice to just get totally new people where you just really ready for anything.
And starting in April, you guys will have some home games here at USD. How does that fan turnout compare to your away games?
Definitely a lot better with the support here. We love Coyote Nation. That's obviously super helpful. We also know like the field better. There's definitely always a home field advantage. But yeah, the turnout. We do have a lot of parents who will travel and go to all of our away games, so that's also super helpful. But we do love to play here, get some students in the stands, and definitely it's always pretty loud, so that's definitely encouraging, helps us.
Caroline, thanks so much, and best of luck on the rest of your season.
Thank you.
Live in the muck for Coyote News, I'm Carly Phillips.
Thanks, Carly. The soccer team will hit the road to Mankato after spring break.
Off the court and on the diamond, USD's softball team travels to California this weekend. In their last span of games, they knocked off a Big Ten opponent. During the Shamrock Classic, the Coyotes took a 6-4 win over Iowa. Bella Durkee was a perfect 2 of 2 during the game. Courtney Wilson saw a home run as well. Later that day, USD lost to Central Arkansas 1-0. The Coyotes won both games the next day, beating Alcorn State 9-1 and redeeming their lone loss by beating Central Arkansas 1-0. The Coyotes now sit at 8-9 on the season. Members of the swimming and diving team are headed to the National Invitational Championships. Tomorrow, 24 members of the team are slated to compete in Indiana. Emily Kahn, who won the Summit League title in the 100 free, is scheduled to compete in 4 events over the championships. She is among the 12 Coyote women invited. Camilla Brogger Anderson, who earned all Summit League honors during the season, will also race at the invite.
The tennis team will be in Florida over spring break. Next week, USD will take on Fairfield, Navy, and Valparaiso. This past Sunday, the Coyotes faced North Dakota. During the 2-5 loss, Anna Medvedeva and Grace Chaddock saw victories in singles. USD also saw a win in the number 2 doubles from Selena Bird and Medvedeva. The Coyotes are now 1-7 on the season, sitting in last place in the Summit League. And that's it for Coyote Sports.
When we come back, we asked students where they would go if they had a time machine. Stay with us.
This is Coyote News.
Many students are traveling this weekend for spring break, but that is simply linear.
We wanted to know where students would go if they had a time machine.
Here's what they had to say.
I feel like I don't want to go to like the 20s because I feel like it would be really cool to like go to like Prohibition and like go into like the speakeasies and stuff. I think it'd be really cool.
Probably to the Norman Conquest.
I would go see an Elvis Presley concert because he's cool.
I would go back to 1963 to prevent the Kennedy assassination.
I would go back to before I was born to see my parents' reactions.
Like the Old West and do standoffs with people.
Honestly, I'm adopted, and so I would probably go back to
when I was born and before I was put in an orphanage.
Oh, I'd go back to when I was 5 years old in Mexico on a bus getting an extremely large pizza with my dad.
I would probably go to Italy because I've always wanted to go there, and also the art and architecture was like so cool in the past. Like I would definitely want to travel like a few hundred years back to see like when like the Colosseum was built, and then like certain like museums and stuff.
I know it didn't work out well for Biff and Back to the Future, but I'd probably go back and I'd give myself a sports almanac when I was a kid. What would you do, Caitlin?
I would probably go back to the days of the dinosaurs, you know, get to hang out with some T-Rexes, some Triceratops. Be kind of fun.
That would certainly be interesting, but dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
A TikTok family has come under fire after posting a video in which they customized their toddler's shoes, making them tall enough for the rides at Disneyland. In the original video, they described the shoe modification as the ultimate theme park hack. Many criticized the parents for disobeying Disney safety rules in favor of internet clout. Former Disney staff were quick to point out that height requirements are in place to avoid a tragedy and that disobeying them puts guests at risk. The family has since posted an apology video in response to the negative feedback. And that's all for Coyote News.
Pick up the Valance issue for a look at why Vermilion's water tastes like that.
Listen to 91.1 for news updates throughout the week and for coverage of your USD sports.
Don't forget to follow our social media pages for daily updates and the weekly poll. Have a great night.